Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. I hope you're doing well. As you can see in this video, we're gonna be interviewing somebody else today. I'm excited to introduce you to, but in the meantime, I want to remind you we have our recitals this Saturday, June 7th. We have them at 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, and we have our adult recital at 8 p.m. This is at Keenan Recital Hall at Peace College, and they're free and open to everyone. So if you are thinking about joining our program for the summer, for the fall, come and watch our students. Marcelo, who's here, his students are performing at I think 6 o'clock. So come and see our students play. Also, we have summer lessons that are starting June 16th. It is not too late. We encourage you to sign up for lessons. We are offering all of our instruments this summer. We have a package of lessons that either you can do a package of 6 or you can do 10 lessons. Come work with our teachers in a more relaxed setting this summer. And the lessons are a little bit more loosey-goosey and they are scheduled around your vacation schedule, but it's an excellent time to start lessons, and we do have some availability. Also, fall lessons are now out as well. And so if you are interested in signing up, you may do so. We had a promotion that was running till through Tuesday at midnight, $50 off. And I might do something like that again at some point. But in the meantime, sign up now so you will have first pick of lesson time. I schedule lessons in order of who registers. And so please, if you are interested in that, we would love to have you. Um, so Marcelo, thank you so much for coming today. Marcelo is our guitar and bass guitar and ukulele teacher, and he has been here for 2 years now. And it might have been more than two. Has it been 2 years, Marcelo?
More than two.
It's been so maybe like 2.5 or three.
Yeah, 14, 15 months.
Yeah, yeah. And we are so happy to have him. And Marcelo has a unique story. As you can tell, he has an accent a little bit. And so he can tell you a little bit about that. My first question is for you because I want everybody to get to know you and we all love you at the school. And Marcelo and I, we are so different, but he is such a necessary component of this team. And his students are playing, I mean, amazingly. Maybe at some point, maybe on social media, I'll have to put some more of his students playing because they are just doing so well. But Marcelo, tell us a little bit about your music journey. What brought you to teach.
Okay, I'll go backwards. I think it's more practical too, so I keep my answers kind of short. I have a master's degree in jazz studies at Georgia State University, Atlanta, and that was in 99. Um, and then before that, I got a BA in music from the University of Rio de Janeiro, where I come from. I'm from Rio. That's where my accent comes from. And but even before all that, I was born a drummer in Sao Paulo, a different state. I was drumming on things since I was 2 3. Neighbors would come, my mom assembled a bunch of stuff, so I'm very strong rhythmically. And I was self-taught until I came to study music seriously, late down in the game, because I tried IBM first. I became a blue man for 7 years, and
Oh,
then
I'm sorry,
I
what is
wasn't
that?
happy.
What is a blue man?
A blue man is a man that works with big corporations like IBM, Shell, Exxon.
Oh,
I
IBM.
was in
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yes.
IBM, the big company.
Okay,
But
got
I
it.
was unhappy. I decided I'm going to pursue music. I was already in my early 20s. I said I need to start studying music for real. But at that point, I had already played a lot with friends. I was a drummer, then I picked up the guitar. I had this ease of learning too, but I grew up listening to music more than trying to play a specific instrument. And that's what I think, and that's what I try to teach the students, is that you've got to listen first, then you try to reproduce whatever you moves you in that instrument. The instrument is a tool, as the name says. It's an instrument. And sometimes we get stuck in the technical difficulties of our instruments, but it's more about you can say the same message with less words. So I try to keep it simple. That's my experience was very emotional first. Then I read a lot. I keep reading. I love learning. I don't stop today with the internet. You don't stop learning. There's so much information out there. If you want to be the filter to the good and the bad one, that's up to you. But there's a lot of good stuff up there. So my formation, I ended up playing a lot of Brazilian jazz in Atlanta in the late '90s. The My wife is a singer too. She was working at IBM, ironically, at the same time in Atlanta. So I quit IBM. I married my wife. She works at IBM and she's a singer. So that was, let's say, the highlight of my performing career so far. We went back to Brazil in 2000. We had two kids. One has been living in Chicago for 4 years, performing Zeno Camera. And he's a pop artist. He's doing a lot of shows, finishing IT. My youngest is in half the way through his degree in jazz piano in UNC Asheville. He's playing very well. We had a show last Saturday in Durham, and he kicked my butt. He's so fast. So, but it's so all the family's musical. I have a very musical environment. We open our living room for our friends. We're always playing music. So that's my background. That's more like my profile since the and I'm pushing 60. I'm 59, and I'm still not tired of playing. I love playing music.
I hear you.
Mainly here in America, jazz, Brazilian jazz. That's my mostly my path.
So, Marcelo, you said that you were self-taught. Were you self-taught until you went to school, until you went to college, or did you have a private teacher?
I was self taught until I went to college. When college came, when time for college was up, I didn't know how to read one note on score. And I was already playing all the hard pieces you could imagine. So I was picking up things with my ears. And it's a long journey. It takes longer in terms of structure because it's chaotic. On the other edge, you acquire lots of internal tools to to read. For example, my harmonic ear is very good, so I hear a song, I start hearing the chords and I go along, and the melody is good, and rhythmically I was strong. So when you have these three paths taken care of, the rhythm, the melody, and the harmony, I always say, you have the tripod that holds music together. Then you need to learn the protocol of writing music, especially depending on the setting you are. Classical music, an orchestra. You cannot conceive a player that cannot read well because it's such a bigger engine. Every piece has to do precisely what they're supposed to do, like our bodies have many pieces. So, but if you're playing by yourself, you have the freedom of the interpretation. You can get away from the paper, you can just read some of the things I tell my youngest when he plays the piano. And I say, go stream of consciousness sometime. Just sit and play. Play a what? Whatever. Just try to play and try to make sense of what you're saying. Because there's a lot of debate if music is a language. And I don't think it is. But because a language can convey the specific idea. The sky is blue. You are pretty, but music is a structure as a language. So you can learn music by listening to it and trying to do. So there's great educators now out there, famous ones, that defend this point of view. I've always defended it. I was kind of bombarded by my academia friends, and I said, listen, I'm not saying it's not. It's if I had to choose one or the other, Aaron, I would really choose go with your instincts. Be-
Wow.
but I would go. And I think there's more musicians, uneducated musicians there who are doing a lot of very excellent music. and they don't really need, but they don't need to come to talk to other musicians. They don't need to structure a presentation with a 80-piece ensemble. So
Mm,
it's important that it's like we can speak the language,
hmm.
but if you are illiterate,
Yeah.
you can still speak
Yeah.
and convey, but the you need to learn to read so you can go for more information, so
Right.
you can get out of books the
Right.
information, you can whatever subject you want. So I think that the written language is one of the greatest inventions of humankind.
Mm,
And when we invented a way to write music, it's super important because then you can access the well-tempered clavier.
yeah.
Bach, when I began really improving my technique and my instrument, is when I began studying Bach, and I was reading that. I needed that written down.
So
You
you
know.
think that the maybe the most efficient way to learn is to hear it first and then to bring in the reading and then technical aspects later. Am I
Yes, the tech
understanding that
the
correct?
almost perfect, but the technical aspects that they will come together because as you try to play something, you are kind of jamming. It's like, who is it? Victor Wooten is a famous bass player.
Hmm.
He says that it's like when we are babies and we're learning to talk with our parents.
Hmm.
So we do ba ba boo ba ba bee. We speak in a different way with funny ways. But the parents, instead of correcting, they jam with us.
Mm,
And by jamming the conversation, the child develops the vocabulary
mm.
and learns by listening how to imitate that sound. So it's a language. In this way, music is a language too. I could try to pretend that I'm a truly American guy, and try to conceive I don't know, my accent.
No.
And then I sound completely different. It's a different personality. But that's not Marcelo.
Yeah.
So
Do you think, I
music
mean,
is like
not
that.
to interrupt you, but do you think that this concept goes for every instrument? Can
I
we?
think it goes. I think that goes for every instrument, and if you don't have an instrument, you do this, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm still making music. Try to notate this. I'll probably put some 16s in the highs and put the melody down with hum. But I mean, but if I come, so it's the old another analogy I always use, the Zen story about the masters. There's a sect of Zen called that they use the master has a question to the pupils. He asks the same question to 5 6 pupils. They go to their places, they reflect on that for a week, and they come back and they give an answer. So uh, what happens is he asks, okay, the question of this week is, what describe me the smell of a rose? And then you can, but how come you do whatever in your whatever way you want? You come back to me and you tell me what is the smell of a rose. Okay, okay. So they came back. One did a beautiful poem like a haikai, 17th beautiful, the rose, and say, okay, not not enough. The other came and said, well, the rose is compound by this, broke down the composition of the flower, the colors, and said, well, not enough. Okay, one came with a beautiful song telling how sweet a rose is. And I said, okay, not enough. The last one was empty handed, had one hand behind his back. And the master said, well, so I did say, he quietly brought a rose from behind and put under the master's nose and said, and the man said, that's the smell of a rose. So I think that when you listen to sounds, before you go when you learn to listen, you're going directed to the smell of the rose.
Mm.
You just don't want to be trapped in not becoming better by acquiring knowledge, literacy.
Mm-hmm.
in whatever subject, because then you can access the information in
Mm-hmm.
a much deeper way.
Mm-hmm.
I can strum "Happy Birthday" to you, but if I wanna do the D minor prelude, Bach's D minor prelude on guitar, I have to sit down. But the technical difficulties, I think, Aaron, they come from the decision of the repertoire. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to give something too difficult
Mm-hmm.
for a beginner, but you don't want to give something too soft, too easy too. So it's always the same old idea of balance that emerges.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that uh, if you're involved with the song, if you're motivated to learn, I wanted to learn every Beatles song I could. So I was playing the Beatles. I was
Mm-hmm.
learning English with the Beatles.
Mm-hmm.
I had the album. I was a boy when I first began strumming the guitar as well, besides the drums. It was the red compilation of the Beatles. It was beautiful, had the big lyrics. The vinyls were a different experience. You had the tactile, you had the smell of the old vinyls. There's a lot involved, like a book. But it's hard to tell. We have to move with times.
Mm-hmm.
So so we need to use all the tools we have now to improve. There's so many out there.
Mm-hmm.
And but again, down below is the sound.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning there was the big bang, right? Boom. It's still reverberating
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
They're still picking up that thing. You see, it's like a string that is still vibrating.
Mm.
And if you go down to the subatomic science, they are down to strings theory. They are coming down that they are little strings vibrating too, down to the smallest possible we've found so far.
Mm.
So it's interesting. In a way, it's all about vibrations.
Yeah.
Colors are vibrations.
Definitely. The way that you speak about it is poetic and very meta and very like high level thinking stuff. But the biggest thing that I pick up when I hear you speak about this stuff, because I think that you have such a unique perspective, I get a sense of childlike wonder when you speak. I feel like there's a sense of play in how you think about teaching music and how you allow your students to explore and stuff, and they kind of find the answer. It feels like they find the answers within. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because it's so different than what, this idea of being structured and giving the foundation and giving the tools and all that stuff, and being very literal and as a teacher. Tell me about your philosophy about that.
My idea is that the material your student is involved with is the most important decision you can take. If I try to push down a hard etude their throats, but they want to play Taylor Swift, what is the point? Let them play Taylor Swift. And through playing Taylor Swift, they will learn basic bricks, because especially pop music these days is very simply assembled. It's just a recompound of very simple blocks. Rhythms are kind of the same. It's kind of sad because it lost a little bit of the diversity that we used to have. But
Mhm.
I understand. Again, I'm not an old man complaining, but I think if the student has to play Taylor Swift, let him, and then it's gonna struggle at home. It's gonna try, and I say, play along. Slow down. Now you can, so many softwares out there, even YouTube. You go to settings, and you go to playback speed, and you slow down to 75. That's your metronome. You don't need a metronome. You have the song playing, the real song. Play along with the song. It's too fast. Go 75. Go 50, and then you're gonna be motivated by fun, and you nail in the head when you mention that, because fun has to be the center of learning, of knowledge, not light fun. It's the duty of the instructor, the educator, though, to pay attention like a tailor.
Mhm.
That's how I see it. I'm more like a tailor.
Mhm.
I pay attention to the students to see, what do they want, what do you want, what do you like. Where are you coming from? It's a whole thing. Ah, I like Taylor Swift. Go Taylor Swift. Oh, I like Finnick. Okay. It's just names. Oh, I like Bach. Let's do Bach. I like, okay, and when they are hooked, usually that they are in their midway and playing in tempo and having fun with it, that's what I'm gonna try to put them at
Mm.
first,
Yeah.
as fast as possible. Have them playing in tempo, something they like. So when you get the student to that point, independent of how well or how he's playing, he's stumbling. It's like the kids mumbling with us, learning to speak, and you keep laughing and say, "Come on!" And you don't say, "No, that's wrong," like the academia does. So,
Peak.
so
Yeah.
you go to a 2 hour classical concert, and it's gonna be perfect, like a piano concert. But the guy's gonna miss one note. Everybody will know what that note was, and they are gonna talk about that wrong note when they leave the theater. They'll see, oh, he stumbled on that one. Yeah, yeah, he did. So
Oh,
come on, man. I mean, give me a break. Let's have fun here.
yeah.
And I know that's the protocol. I understand and I respect. And I come from that. And my technique comes from that protocol. I'm a good soloist with all modesty.
Mm.
But you should see that Saturday was a good one because my son is pushing me. So I'll show you the link or something. I'll try to publish it.
But do you think in this philosophy that there has to be some, I don't know, that I just, do you find that you can get someone who is not motivated at all, someone who is not, who has no idea of what it means to be dedicated to something and to a start that, I don't know, that discipline, that discipline that they can, you can get them there. I mean, that is something that is possible to get them there through this idea of play, through finding their songs. You don't
It
find
is.
other way though. You don't find it that students take advantage of that.
Well, what I try to get them to do, and you can try this to anything, not only practicing an instrument. I try them to find 5 minutes of their day, the same 5 minutes. I ask them. There's the only commitment I need at first from you. 5 minutes. And you don't imagine how hard it is to get this to happen.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know.
Now, try yourself to do 5 minutes of something like 5 minutes of, I've been trying myself push-ups and some abs or something. 5 minutes a day, and you don't have to do it non-stop. 5 minutes of push-ups is a lot, but I mean, you know what I mean. Just a
Yeah,
small routine of
yeah,
5 push-ups, 5 abs. Stuff.
yeah,
Try to find a moment in your day and do that.
yeah,
See how hard it is initially
yeah,
to develop that habit.
yeah.
Because another analogy I like to use, the big locomotives of the coal time, the steam, that would, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so they would use the most amount of coal
Hmm.
to have that thing burning hot. So
Hmm.
we would be able to leave inertia because it's so heavy, and
Hmm.
it's pulling all those wagons.
Hmm.
So usually the wheel slips
Hmm.
before the thing starts to move. It's like, and a lot of energy is being put in that thing. Like, this is the 5 minutes I'm asking
Hmm.
to develop the habit. But once the child or the adult or whoever starts being able to strum the chords or play the passage, the soloing passage well in tempo with the song, hopefully he decided or she decided. So, and he starts acquiring the thing starts to move in time.
Hmm.
Music happens in time, and
Hmm.
it has to be. So I say, if you stumble, keep going. If you, and I use the train image, if you lose your place in the song, instead of being desperate, just take your hands off your instrument first,
Mm.
because
Good,
you're
good,
lost.
good metaphor for life.
Is Yes, take your, and that works for all of us, Aaron.
Mm.
Take your hands off your instrument,
Hmm.
breathe a little, listen, because there's another wagon coming. Hop in the train again. You're
Hmm.
not, it's not gonna, you can hop back. You're learning the song.
Hmm.
Once you acquire the momentum and you start playing songs in tempo, then you don't have to shove a lot of coal in that thing. It's
Yeah.
just one stone or two because you are at 70 miles an hour. And try to stop you now because you've
Ah.
got momentum.
So it
But
almost
the
feels
thing,
like the commitment that you speak of is kind of like outside of you. It's like otherworldly. It's like it just like gets you go like you just get on this thing and it just takes you. It's not something that you have to it doesn't feel like you have to work for it. Is that
well, you really have to work for
mm,
committing to those 5 minutes.
okay. Okay, yeah.
When those 5 minutes become real, you know what happens? I've been teaching for 35 years. You know what happens when those 5 minutes become a habit? They become 20 minutes, not five.
Wow.
Easily. And then if the flower really, because I think that students are like a garden, right? I said I'm a tailor, I'm a gardener. So when you see that the thing is strong,
Yes.
when the students start playing the songs in time, it's like when the child gets rid of the practicing wheels. They don't even need you anymore that much. I trust them. They can stay with me for the rest of their lives. But I say, man, you're playing so well. This. You have a song list. Keep building your song list. May whatever genre, jazz, classical, go. And if you have, build your song list for life, and keep picking material that you enjoy. So the thing is, the 5 minutes will become 20, not 10, 20, and the 20 minutes will become what they call today in neuroscience as the flow state.
Ah.
You enter flow state, and then that's when you become a serious musician. And
Mm.
it's happened to me, to both of my sons, to many of my students, is when you don't feel time anymore. That becomes part of your life. And
Wow.
sometimes you 45 minutes or 3 hours pass and you're being completely involved with that piece or with something you need to do.
Marcelo, that's
So
beautiful. It's beautiful. I mean,
yeah, that's my way of seeing it. But it's hard on the part of the educator to be that tailor. That's what I
yes.
see. It comes from mileage and from sensibility.
Yeah.
And you know when a student is bummed out too, give him those 5 minutes. There's a lot of human interaction in a private lesson.
I also, when you speak of, I mean, it seems like a lot of work for the educator. That's a lot of emotional energy, a lot of energy. And I hope that your students know how much work it is to be that attuned, and like how that's not an easy thing. And to also be teaching at this, to be that attuned, but then also be able to continue teaching. So
Yeah,
that's,
it's pleasing for me. It is still pleasing. I always tell that we've been back to Raleigh from Rio at 4 years now.
mhm.
And I've been teaching a ton of lessons. I teach a ton.
Oh,
And
yes.
I love teaching. I'm not burned out.
Wow.
I have my mornings usually that I didn't have for many years in Brazil. I was teaching music in an international school in Brazil, a Catholic international school, for almost 20 years.
Mm.
And when COVID hits, 11 of the oldest teachers were laid off.
Wow.
And I was one of them. They took the arts down. They finished the art. They finished physical education went down. And anyway, we decided to come back to Raleigh because it's the place where I got married with my wife in 95, where she was born here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I've been teaching a ton in the city, and I love every place I teach.
Well, I am so appreciative of you. I think that you bring such a new, different energy to our school, and I know your students love you. And I hope that we can continue this relation for years to come. That, so thank you so much for talking with me today.
My
Um,
pleasure.
yeah, and I hope people got, I mean, you just have such a beautiful, expansive view of what it means to learn music. And I just wish that we all could integrate more of that into how we, other people teach. So
Yes.
anyway, well, thank you so much.
Take it easy.
All right, you too. Bye.